about a heaven in Alberta, where they've got all hell for basements. Yeah, I lost my way, but I hear tell about a heaven in Alberta, where they've got all hell for basements.
Yeehaw! Howdy, everybody. Frankie here. New West Reset. Howdy, y'all. Thank you very much for shooting in, joining a feller here for another one, another live stream. Hopefully you can hear me now. I forgot to unmute my mic because, it's amateur hour around here on the show. Anyway, thank you for joining a feller here for another live stream, New West Reset Live, episode 73, the birth of the Canadian cowboy. So howdy. Welcome. Hope everybody is doing well out there and enjoying your Friday. Where are we at here? Well, it's Friday, July the 5th, you see, 2024. Just a wee bit past 7 p.m. local time. That's Mountain Time. And, man, it's lovely today. 25 degrees Celsius. It's creeping up on 80 degrees Fahrenheit. 76, 77 degrees Fahrenheit. This is excellent. Fantastic. Scorcher day. We had the Calgary Stampede Parade today to kick off the first full official day of the Calgary Stampede. The greatest outdoor show on earth, one of the world's largest rodeos. And that's what we're going to be discussing on the show here tonight. And I'm glad to be back on my regular live Friday schedule for the show here. Thank you again for bearing with a guy for having to bounce around all over the place. Friday, Sunday. I don't know. I appreciate your patience. So my apologies for kicking off the show without the sound. Hopefully everything's okay now. I think you can hear me now. Let's see here. Can I hear myself? Yep, I can hear myself. All right, here we go. So as mentioned, we're coming at you from Calgary. It's the Calgary Stampede. The sneak peek was last night. You kind of go in the evening. Check out the midway. I don't know if there was much in the way of, there was no rodeo events last night. But I think you could ride rides and maybe, have a quick little peekaboo at some of the exhibitions and so on. But anyways, that's what we're going to be talking about here tonight. The Calgary Stampede. The birth of the Canadian cowboy. But before I get ahead of myself, if you haven't already, give a guy one of these, or one of these, that's fine. Just helps to push me out into the YouTube thing a little bit, as we make our way to 2,000 subscribers. A couple of weeks back, had the 1,500 subscriber meetup and mudflood walkabout tour of Inglewood. And that was terrific. The weather was lovely as well. And that is going to be the edited, uploaded version. Will be up for you on this coming Sunday, I believe, or next Sunday. Nope, next Sunday, the 14th. So I trust everybody is doing all right, ready for the weekend. Thanks for kicking off your weekend here with yours truly. It's Friday, don't you know? So as per usual, as mentioned, coming at you from Calgary, southern Alberta, Purdy, Alberta, up here in Canada land, eh? So how's she going there, eh, bud? How you doing there, eh, buddy? Sound off in the chat, in the box. Say hello. Let me know where you're shooting in from. Say howdy in the corral there. I guess. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Hardly nobody speaks like that around here. Even real life cowboys. Hippie Shake is in the box, in the corral. Chassis Nix is here as well. Howdy, Chassis. Title's here. Hello, Turtle. Welcome. Howdy, howdy. William Powell's Esquire. No, I don't think he's Esquire. He's my pal, Bill. Good to see you. ER is here as well. Eugenie, Retrospectology. Kathy Childers is here. Howdy, Kathy. Cousin Vinny in the box. You made me turn my sound way up and then, yeah! A guy can get hoarse, hooting and hollering to get them little doggies to get along. Get along, little doggies. Down. Yeah, now, come on now. I'm going to end up sounding like Yosemite Sam from the Looney Tunes cartoons by the time the night is over here. 88 Fingers Louie. Wasn't it from the Flintstones? 88 Fingers Louie? I think that was from the Flintstones. I think it was the name of a piano thief or something. Hey, bud, come here. Who, me? Yeah, you. Shh. You want to buy a piano, bud? Anyway, thank you very much for shooting in, joining me here for this one on this first official opening day of the Calgary Stampede. We got 10 days of rodeo shenanigans going on up here, as well as, hey, Cal's here as well. Howdy, Cal. You snuck in there on a guy. I didn't quite see you there. Anyway, 10 11 days-ish of rodeo shenanigans, exhibitions. They have auctions too, livestock auctions. You can go and check out the newest, latest, greatest, and I don't know, combines, threshers, hay baling machines, all kinds of stuff. Maybe you can buy some bovine semen. Yep, that's right. Bovine semen. We're all okay in the OK Corral. Well, let me tell you, everybody dresses Western. Pretty much the whole city gets into it for the week and a half or so. Everybody dons their jeans and their cowboy shirts and their cowboy hats, you know, their Western swag, their cowboy drip, boots, and belt buckles big enough to eat your dinner off of. You know, belt buckles bigger than that thing on the camera. They're huge, shiny, silver belt buckles. Actually, out in the country, the good country folk here in Alberta, the rural folk, do have a little bit of a slight way about the way they speak that's slightly different than the city folk like me. They just speak a little bit slower and a little bit more matter of fact. Not slow as in dumbed down. Just, they say what they mean and they mean what they say. And I'm not going to mince any words here now, buddy. That's how we do it, eh? Whereas, city is hustle and bustle, so you talk a mile a minute. I mean, I wear jeans pretty much all the time anyways, except for in the summer when it's too hot. Then a guy might throw on some shorts, some short pants. Not hot pants, but short pants. You wouldn't want to see me in hot pants. It ain't my first rodeo, bud. Dragon Sage. Good to see you, sir. All right, so everything we're going to cover tonight, as per usual, links in the description box below. We're going to look at sort of the origins of the Stampede, the official story. Got a couple of videos too that I bookmarked it on the YouTubes. One of them's from 1950. It's footage of the Calgary Stampede. The other one is, I think, a more recent. Yeah, it's kind of a promotional from like a travel channel. It's more recent-ish, from about 5 years ago. And we're going to look at some old photos. I've got some beauties. I've got some photos of the rodeo from here. Starting, I think the oldest photos I've got a few from 1912, some from 1919, a bunch from the 30s, and a couple from the 50s. So we're going to have a look-see at that as well. Thank you for joining me once again. If you haven't, give a guy one of these. I'd be much obliged, partner. Mentioning links below, feller's email is down there. If you want to get a hold of me, shoot a feller some ideas for the show, or you want to send me some photographs or links to stuff that you think might pique my interest. My MeWe and BitChute are down there as well. My location map on the goggle machine there, all the places that I've hit up in the city and surrounding small little towns here and abouts. Cousin Vinny, kind enough to put that thing together for us. And also links for the fighting platform over there, broadcasting simultaneously live on the YouTubes and the Rumble. So welcome, everybody. Thank you to everybody who has already subscribed and shared. Appreciate it. And if you're tuning in and watching this thing after the live, after the fact, thank you for your support as well. Maybe, say howdy to a feller down below or something, George Armstrong's here. George in the corral. Cheers, George. Good to see you. So yeah, we'll look at some Wikipedia stuff, a couple of videos. We'll take a mid-show break and I'll give you a sneak peek at your midweek coming up for Wednesday. Vintage footage. It's going to be cowboy stuff, of course. Every Wednesday you get a midweek every Wednesday you get a midweek vintage footage video, and I'll always give you a little sneak peek here on the live show. Sunday boots on the ground and Friday live. It's in the 90s Fahrenheit in Ontario right now. Wow. Yeah, that's hot. That's like, 25 to 30. Yeah, around 30-ish Celsius-ish, give or take. But it's humid there. At least here it's dry, right? It's drier than a popcorn fart out here. Well, not really, because we've been having showers and a bit of rain on and off over the past week or so. But the Lord above, as he always does with every stampede, smiling down on all the cowboys and cowgals. Because in the past, 100 years or so, again, give or take, since we've done a Calgary Stampede Parade. I think it's only rained on the parade 3 or 4 times in 100 years. So there you go. Not too shabby. Now, 2-3 days in, you might get a hailstorm attacking you while you're on the midway. You know, you're on a roller coaster or something, and you're getting pelted by pea-sized hail or marble-sized hail. But it's fine. That's what cowboy hats are for. Cowboy hat will protect you. Hippie says it's 16 Celsius in Wales right now. Yeah, it's more like autumn. Jim Dillinger, who's normally lives in the south of France, or south central France, if that's a thing. Central, but southern France. Anyway, he's gone on vacation back to his home turf there in Ireland, and he says it was cold and windy and crappy in July, you know. So Kathy's saying it's warm and muggy in Kentucky. That sounds like a country song. Well, it's warm and muggy in old Kentucky. Oh, won't you lay down beside me tonight? I got some whiskey and a fire, so don't try to deny the fact that you love me so. I don't even know what the hell that is. But anyways, speaking of Kentucky and the good old US of A, happy belated one day too late from a fella. Happy Independence Day. Happy 4th of July on the 5th of July. Happy Independence Day, July the 4th, to my American friends, neighbors to the south. Hope you enjoyed it. And again, you know, I'm not talking about the whole, you know, BS narrative of the history of the country. You know, I'm just talking about getting together with your loved ones, having a barbecue or a get together, maybe having some wobbly pops. I don't know. Maybe having some giggle water. You know, maybe you rustle yourself up some grub, maybe some chili dogs or some burgers, throw some critters on the old grill, watch some fireworks, give your loved ones, friends, and family a hug, tell them you love them, and wish them a happy Independence Day. That's what the 4th of July is all about, man. Don't worry about all that crap. Just like Canada Day. The history of Canada is shrouded in a fine layer of poop, and it's peppered with more poop, usually of the bull variety. A lot of bullshit. But, you know, I celebrate Canada Day on my terms, man. You know. Spend every other day of the year trying to figure out the official history. So the real story, and trying to separate nat shit from pepper. So, you know, you can take a day off and enjoy it and have some hot dogs and, I don't know, watch a football game or, I don't know, man, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Have a good time. Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. A day too late, though. Sorry. I'm all just about the Canada up here, being a wacky Canuck on my own self. So what do you say we jump into this thing here? We've been screwing around for 20 minutes already, for pity's sake. For the love of Pete. So let's just have a look at the Wikipedia, just to give us a little bit of a, you know, flavor of the official story of what it says here for the old Calgary Stampede. There it is right there, Calgary Stampede. The Calgary Stampede is an annual rodeo, exhibition, and festival held every July in Calgary, Alberta, Canada land. The 10-day event, which bills itself as the greatest outdoor show on earth, attracts over 1 million visitors per year and features one of the world's largest rodeos. A parade, midway, stage shows, concerts, agricultural competitions, chuck wagon racing, and First Nations exhibitions. In 2008, the Calgary Stampede was inducted into the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame. Took them long enough. We've been doing it for over 100 years, for crying out loud. Sheesh. You know, I got to tell you, it's going to be a bumpy ride on the show. It's already amateur hour here. I got ahead of myself. I actually wanted to show you a couple of pictures here first before we even got into the whole Wikipedia and stuff, because I kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit. So let me just cue this up here real quick, just while you're getting an idea of what's going on here, because I want you to tell me now. Now, when you think of Canada land, right? When you think of Canadanedia up here, right? What do you think of? Chances are you think of something like this. Oh, there she is, eh? Oh, Canada. The old maple leaf in all its glory, eh? Probably a lot of this. You probably picture a lot of hockey. Oh, there, those Canadians, those toothless bastards up there, they love their hockey, eh, bud? Yeah, maybe this, too. You probably think of maple syrup. I mean, if I can't get it from Vermont, I know it's coming from Canadanedia. Maybe this, lumberjacks. Maybe lumberjacks. I don't know. Probably some of this, though. Like when you think of Canada, you probably think of stuff like this. Wilderness, pristine mountain lakes and whatnot, right? Maybe a little bit of this, the Iditarod and dog sledding and yeah, mush now. Up in the Yukons and up in the Northwest Territories and Nunavut, with the indigenous Inuit peoples, what we used to call Eskimo, but you're not allowed to say that anymore for some reason, eh? But more likely, you think of this when you think Canadanedia land. Yep, cold. But do you think about some of this? Well, if you've been around here or other channels that do what I do, yep, for sure. The Chateau Frontenac Hotel in Quebec City. Canadian Tartarian, if I've ever seen it. Very old world. And I'm sure you've seen this when you think of Canada. The Houses of Parliament, the Parliament building there on Capitol Hill, the beautiful clock tower, and of course the Parliamentary Library in behind, which is something to behold. What about this? I bet you ain't never thought of this when you think of Canada. That's probably not the first thing that pops into your noggin. It's something like this, I bet you. Huh? I bet you don't think of stuff like this. A typical cowboy. From right here in southern Alberta. Huh? Well, you'd be wrong, fool. Sorry. I'm having a good time. Anyway, now let's get back to the Stampede here after me screwing it up. Top of the show, no sound, and now jumping the gun here. Anyway, the event's roots are traced to 1886, when the Calgary and District Agricultural Society held its first fair. A lot of stuff went on here in 1886. CP Rail, Canadian Pacific Railroad, opened up a stop and built a station and later a hotel here in Calgary. The Great Calgary Fire was in 1886. Yep. That's right. That's right. So, while they were putting out the fire, they decided to have their first agricultural fair. That was over on St. George's Island, if I'm not mistaken, perhaps, which is now where the Calgary Zoo is, maybe. Either that or maybe it's where the rodeo grounds is now, and it always has been. It can be one of the two. Anyway, in 1912, American promoter Guy Weedick, Weeds, Cowboys, out in the prairie. Is that real? He's some guy from out in the weeds. Anyways, organized his first rodeo and festival known as the Stampede. He returned to Calgary in 1919 to organize the Victory Stampede in honor of the soldiers returning from WW1. Weedix Festival became an annual event in 1923. So last year was the 100-year anniversary of it being annual. Prior to that, it was just kind of whenever we felt like it. Hey, we're having that stampede in a couple of years. We fellas figured we ought to throw some cows and horses together and have a rodeo. Yep. All right. Let's get her done. Anyways, when it merged with the Calgary Industrial Exhibition to create the Calgary Exhibition and Stampede. Organized by thousands of volunteers and supported by civic leaders, the Calgary Stampede has grown one of the world's richest rodeos, one of Canada's largest festivals, and a significant tourist attraction for the city. Excuse me. Rodeo and chuck wagon racing events are televised across Canada. However, both have been the target of increasing international criticism by animal welfare groups and politicians concerned about particular events, as well as animal rights organizations seeking to ban the rodeo in general. Good luck, buddy. Now you listen here, partner. You Greenhorn City Slicker son bitch. You try to come in here now and end our rodeo. Well, let's just say you might meet some buckshot. Or worse. It ain't going to happen. PETA and all them hate the Calgary Stampede. They hate it. Animal rights, bleeding hearts hate it too. But let me tell you, if dying and being reincarnated is a real thing, I want to come back as a Calgary Stampede horse, because them horses are spoiled rotten. Spoiled rotten. Bless them. They're treated like family by the Cowboys. They're kept in tip-top condition. Their diet is immaculate. They're basically animal athletes, right? So, athletes, they tend to not to sit down and eat a bucket of fried chicken and chase it with some Snickers or Payday chocolate candy bars. Maybe wash it down with Coca-Cola or Dr. Pepper. No, same thing with horses, right? They feed them the good stuff, man. Those horses eat better than I do. Anyways, Calgary's national and international identity is tied to the event. It is known as Stampede City. Carries the informal nickname of Cowtown, and the local Canadian Football League, the Canadian professional American-style football, termed the Stampeders. Our team's called the Stampeders. There was even a band from Calgary also called the Stampeders. Anyways, the city takes on a party atmosphere during the Stampede. It's kind of like Mardi Gras, but with cowboys. Office buildings and storefronts are painted in cowboy themes. Residents don Western wear. And events held across the city include hundreds of free pancake breakfasts and barbecues. What do they put here for Western wear? Yep, there you go. There she is. Put on your dungarees, your Western shirt, your kerchief, maybe a leather or suede jacket. Don't forget your cowboy hat now. And your boots. History. Here we go. Here's the official stuff here. I mean, it's got to be true. It's on the Wikipedia. The Calgary and District Agricultural Society was formed in 1884 to promote the town and encourage farmers and ranchers from Eastern Canada to move west. That's like a scant 9 years after Calgary was founded as a fort. The society held its first fair 2 years later, attracting a quarter of the town's 2,000 residents. Wow, 500 people showed up. I guess it's not bad. A quarter of the population of the town. By 1889, it acquired land on the banks of the Elbow River to host the exhibitions. But crop failures, poor weather, and a declining economy resulted in the society ceasing operations in 1895. Oh, there's some sirens for you. There you go. You can't have a New West live stream without sirens in the background. Ambulance and fire trucks or fire engines. Hearing a lot of that, tourists in town, they don't give a crap. They pay for a rental car, and then they insure it up the wazoo because they're going to drive the hell out of it. Zombies preparedness in the box. Howdy, howdy. Jabberoo Joe is rustled himself and moseyed on into the corral. Howdy, y'all. Yeah, they do. They ride a horse up and down the sidelines when the Stampeders score a touchdown. We just call them the Stamps. Us Calgarians call them the Stamps. Hey, did you watch the Stamps game? Anyway, so yeah, I guess the land they acquired is to this day where Stampede Park is. All right. So not St. George's Island. Although I think the Agricultural Society used to have meetings there maybe or something. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. The land passed briefly to future Prime Minister R.B. Bennett. Never even heard of that guy. Who's this guy? Okay. Who sold it to the city? The area was called Victoria Park. Ah, there it is. Yes, after Queen Victoria.
Oh, I say, loyal subjects, isn't that lovely? We are rather amused that you've named your rodeo grounds after us and the royal crowd to which you are subject. Good day and happy stampeding. Yahoo!
And the newly formed Western Pacific Exhibition Company hosted the first agriculture and industrial fair in 1899. 1908, the government of Canada announced that Calgary would host the federally funded Dominion exhibition. That was Canada's version of the World's Fairs. So that same year, seeking to take advantage of the opportunity to promote itself, the city spent 145,000 Canadian doll hairs to build 6 new pavilions and a racetrack. Held a lavish parade as well as rodeo, horse racing, trick roping competitions. As part of the event, the exhibition was a success, drawing 100,000 people to the fairgrounds over 7 days, despite an economic recession that afflicted the city of 25,000 people. Huh, it's not bad. Guy Wiedeck, an American trick roper who participated in the Dominion exhibition as part of the Miller Brothers 101 Ranch Real Wild West show, returned to Calgary in 1912 in hopes of establishing an event that more accurately represented the Wild West. He basically wanted to do the Wild Bill Cody's Wild West show thing, but have it here in Calgary. Why he was so enamored with us here, I don't know. Well, I mean, I do know. It's beautiful here in Calgary. Come on now. But, I mean, of all places, you know. Anyways, he initially failed to sell civic leaders in the Calgary Industrial Exhibition of his plans, but with the assistance of local livestock agent H.C. McMullen, Wiedeck convinced businessmen Pat Burns, George A. Lane, A.J. McLean, and A.E. Cross to put up $100,000 to guarantee funding for the event. The Big Four, as they became known, viewed the project as a final celebration of their life as cattlemen. Yeah, these were these cattle barons, local cattle barons. Pat Burns was big. The biggest of the biggest. Burns Meats, national brand, still in existence today. So the city built the rodeo arena on the fairgrounds, and over 100,000 people attended the 6-day event in September of 1912 to watch hundreds of cowboys from Western Canada, the United States, and Mexico compete for $20,000 in prizes. The event generated $120,000 in revenue and was hailed as a success. Wow, this is a long article. You know what? Skip ahead and see here what we got here. Well, the 1919 Stampede was successful. It was again held as a one-time event. When was it when they started to go annual? Oh, there it is, 1923. The combined event was first held in 1923. Wiedeck encouraged the city's residents to dress in Western clothes and decorate their businesses in the spirit of the Wild West. Civic leaders truly supported the event for the first time. Mayor George Webster. Look at this guy, George Harry Webster. Howdy, welcome to Calgary, Pard. Followed the costume suggestion, allowed downtown roads to be closed for 2 hours each morning of the 6-day event to accommodate street parties. The new sport of chuck wagon racing was introduced and proved immediately popular. 139,000 people attended the event and earned a profit. Over 167,000 people attended in 1924. The success can guarantee the Stampede will be held together permanently. There you go. Yada, yada, a bunch more stuff here. Links in the description if you want to have a look at it a little bit more. Yeah, the Flames, what do they do? The baseball team that we used to have, I don't even think we even have the team anymore. The Calgary Cannons, they used to fire a cannon. I know, real creative, right? When they score a goal, they have flames shoot up. Actually, like in the WWE wrestling, they have flames. Yeah, that's how we do it. Because watching the nail biting, back breaking, fastest sport in the world of ice hockey, isn't exciting enough. So you got to add pyrotechnics, I guess. You got 250-pound guys on sharpened steel blades on the bottom of their boots, skating at 80, 70 or 80 kilometers per hour, smashing into each other and shooting pucks at 100 kilometers per hour into the nets. Yeah, that's boring. That's boring. Seeing two big galoots duke it out on the ice. Boring. Better have some fire and pyrotechnics. Anyway, let's quickly look into this guy Wiedek for a second here. It's kind of the P.T. Barnum of the Wild West or something. I don't even know. Guy Wiedek. George, a lot of guys named George, by the way, that are in this whole thing. But anyways, George Guy Wiedek, born 23rd February, 1885, died December 13th, 1953, was an American cowboy, performer, and promoter. Today, he's best known as the founder of the Calgary Stampede in Alberta, Canada. He was married to famed cowgirl Florence Ledoux. Wiedek was the first to be inducted into the Builder category of the Canadian Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame. 1912, Wiedek traveled to Calgary, where he met with H.C. McMullen, a livestock agent for the Canadian Pacific Railway. Two of them put together a program for a frontier show. Why would he come all the way from Rochester, New York, all the way out here? Anyway, they envisioned a cowboy championship along with a tribute to the Old West. Wiedek gained financing from the Big Four, yada, yada. Okay, we've got some of that. Staged the first Calgary Stampede, 1912. Ranchers and farmers had finished their harvesting and would be free to attend. Wiedek arranged for 200 head of Mexican steers, 200 bucking steers, and wild horses to be brought in from the ranches around Calgary in order to entice top quality competitors. 20 grand in championship money and world championship titles were offered. Prize money was about 4 times the closest competition, causing riders from across North America to arrive in 1912 Stampede. Oh yeah, people came from everywhere. Okay, we're reading a lot of this. It was already in the previous thing here. Come on, give us something here, Wikipedia. In 1912, Indigenous peoples were not allowed to celebrate their cultures on their own reserves because of the Indian Act laws and regulations. What? I didn't even know that. Shameful. The Stampede was one of the only places they were welcome to participate and celebrate their traditions publicly because of a special agreement Guy Wiedek and the Calgary Stampede made with the government. This guy's got some pull. This yank just waltzes in here now and just starts raising money and calling the shots and ordering people around. But I'll tell you what, he got stuff done, boy, howdy. Because the Indigenous peoples were allowed to at least come up to the Stampede Park and the rodeo grounds and do whatever the heck they wanted to do. Dance and drum and meet up and, exchange bannock recipes or I don't know. Indian Village was organized by volunteers on the Stampede's Indian Events Committee. Stampede employees and their teepee families camp at the Indian Village during the Stampede. That still goes on to this day, actually. They camp out at I don't even know if they still call it Indian Village because it's technically not politically correct. Indigenous First Nations Village? I don't know. But they still do that to this day. They come up from the reservations and they set up camp and they sell their wares and they cook and they, other tribes meet one another and they have a sort of a powwow, I guess you call that. Peace meeting between different tribes, catching up. Hey, how you doing there, Running Cloud? Not too bad there, Shadow Wolf, There's a constant consultation about the name of the village and if it should be changed. Here we go. TP owners have indicated that Indian Village is a place and a name with great historical significance and honors the role of Guy Wiedek in their relationship with Stampede throughout the 20th century. So the indigenous peoples themselves are saying, just call it Indian Village, man. Like, we don't care. Following the success of the Calgary Stampede, Guy Wiedek continued promoting his own personal Old West shows outside Calgary. He continued running Stampede for 20 years after his initial creation. His next appearance at the Stampede was to appear in the parade in 1952, and he died the following year in 1953. Calgary Stampede Guy Wiedek Award, created in 1969, was named after him. He was inducted in the Canadian Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame in the Billy category in 1982, and the Rodeo Hall of Fame National Cowboy 76. There you go. Links below. It's kind of interesting. So he kind of wanted to do a Wild West type of show out here, but combine it with the agricultural exhibition, and do a whole rodeo thing, but have, just like the Wild Bill thing, right? With the cowboys and Indians and the trick roping and the trick shooting and the all that stuff, the quick draw competitions, and why not? Now I'm wondering though, had this Guy Wiedek yank not come from, what the heck did he come from? Somewhere in New England, all the way out here to meet with this cattle baron and organize this whole thing. Would Calgary have the Cowtown or Stampede City cowboy whole thing, identity and designation that it now celebrates with such gusto annually? I don't know. I would say it probably would, because I know that some of the earliest pioneers and settlers here, well, at least by what we're told anyways, were cattle ranchers and, some farmers, grain farmers, wheat farmers, right? Wheat and I think barley and oats. So, but would there have been an annual rodeo that 1 million people go through the gates? 100,000 people a day go to this thing every year here? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. So, it's hard to say. What other links do I have down here? Oh yeah, I got a couple of these videos. So let's have a peekaboo here. Some of the shenanigans. And this first video is from 1950. And it's from British Pathé. So, I don't know. Hopefully I don't get... Now this is fair use now. And it's Calgary now. Not loud. It's where I live, buddy. So don't give me a hard time here with this. Share screen and I think this should work. Let's see. Can you hear that okay? Can you let me know in the box, in the corral, in the chat there, please, if you can hear that all right? Whoop, that was not good. I couldn't see a thing when I did that. No sound. Okay. Odd. Really, I'm getting sound. Let me try something here. Hold on a sec here. Let me try something.
Canada's capital city of Calgary observes its 75th anniversary with a new rip-snorting edition of the world-famous Calgary Stampede.
How about there? Can you hear it now? Rip Snorton. Ah, okay. Thank you. There we go. See, I clicked on the wrong thing. Thank you, Hippie. All right, here we go. Let me just start it over here without interruption.
Canada's capital city of Calgary observes its 75th anniversary with a new rip-snorting edition of the world-famous Calgary Stampede. There are wild horses by the carload and cowboys from all over America foolhardy enough to try to ride them. Some of them do, and some of them don't. Governor General Alexander sees another cowhand bite the dust. High spot of every stampede is the chuck wagon race. Charging horses and rickety wagons battle it out in the wildest race of the year.
Let me tell you something. The chuck wagon races are a rip, bud. For sure, eh? They are amazing. It's so exciting to watch. So much fun. It's fantastic. But yes, scary.
Today, just to make it more interesting, they're doing it over a sea of mud. Hang on, Elmer, we're coming down the home stretch. The spirit of the wild and woolly West lives on at the Calgary Stampede.
There we go. The Calgary Stampede. So that was, that wasn't that old, but it was pretty old. But another one here. This is one I mentioned earlier, was from about 5 years ago, I believe. And this is from a Travel Guide channel. YouTubes. So let's check this one out and see what... This should be fair use as well now. This is Travel Guide channel talking about Calgary here. So, and again, please let me know in the box, in the corral, if you can hear it or not.
This is the Calgary Stampede.
So can you hear that okay? Oh yeah, it's certainly super entertaining. I mean, rodeo is a rodeo. It's always exciting, right? But them chuck wagons, boy, howdy. Woo-wee! They get hell-bent for leather, them hosses, let me tell you. I tell you what. Okay, you can hear it. Good. Thank you, Hippie.
Touted as the greatest outdoor show on earth, the Stampede is a 10-day, multi-million-dollar rodeo, agricultural exhibition, and Western party that takes over the city of Calgary every July. In 1912, the first Calgary Stampede showcased agricultural trade and games of skill by cowboys from the real Wild West. Carrying on that tradition, the Calgary Stampede Rodeo has become one of the most coveted events in the professional rodeo circuit and a world-renowned agricultural fair. But traditions evolve. Today, the Stampede caters to visitors from around the world with A-list entertainers, arts and crafts, amusement games and rides, cultural events, and the easygoing, friendly Calgarians. The Stampede grounds are located just southeast of downtown Calgary and houses the rodeo, exhibition, and amusement rides. But the Stampede is also an attitude and extends from the grounds to all corners of the city with community events and free pancake breakfasts.
By the way, the cops during Stampede patrol on horseback. Well, in the summer, they often patrol the city parks on horseback. Some on mountain bikes, which is always gets a laugh out of me because I'm sorry, I can't take a law enforcement officer, a police officer very seriously when he's riding a mountain bike. But a horse, on the other hand, yep. I don't want to mess with a big dude on a big horse, you know. But the cops, the city cops, wear cowboy hats during the Stampede week. They still wear their official uniforms, but they switch their hats to cowboy hats. And the RCMP put on shows where they wear their old-timey uniforms. You know, the red coats with the brown Lord Baden-Powell Boy Scout hats. But yeah, you see cops wearing cowboy hats here during the Stampede, which is kind of neat. And there's Stampede always has pancake breakfasts everywhere. You go to like your local car dealership on Wednesday morning, and they'll have Stampede breakfast. Or you go to the mall, and they'll be having a Stampede breakfast out in the parking lot. You know, it's free, right? Yeah, Dudley Do-Right style. Exactly. Came on vacation, left on probation. Yeah, that's pretty much, it's like Mardi Gras, but for cowboys, you know? So yeah, there's a lot of that. It truly is a lot of fun, you know? Yeah, like Disney for cowboys and cowgals now.
During the 10 days of Stampede, locals trade in their business suits
Yeah, even the military, he's walking around with a cowboy hat on.
for cowboy hats, jeans, and boots. In this video, we'll take a look at the events at the grandstand, which include the rodeo, chuck wagon races, and the evening variety show. Then we'll visit the agricultural and art exhibits, including a visit to the Indian village. Then it's off to the Midway for rides, games, food, and a little partying. Finally, we'll give you a few things you must do while visiting Calgary during the Stampede.
A little bit of boot, scoot, and boogie. Country music's a big thing up here. The Calgary's also kind of known as Nashville of the North. And they actually set up a big indoor stage inside a big, huge event tent, like a big, huge circus-sized tent. That's actually called Nashville North, and they play country music in there, and they've got a bar, and they serve drinks, and I think they have barbecue beef on a bun and stuff like that in there, and it's always a lot of trouble to be had in that joint. I'm not a big country music fan, but I love the rodeo and everything, so.
The easiest way to get to the Stampede is by light rail transit called the C-Train. There are 2 Stampede stations on the C-Train line, Victoria Park and Earlton, and service runs 24 hours a day during Stampede. Victoria Park is the main entrance and will drop you off close to the amusements and exhibition halls, while the Earlton station will be less busy and close to the grandstand for the rodeo or nightly evening show and chuck wagon races. Park admission is around $20 and is included with all pre-purchased rodeo or evening show tickets and some evening concerts.
Tickets I've heard this year are about $25. They tend to go up about $1 a year lately. But I mean, it's still not bad because that gets you into the park gates and to all the exhibitions and all the events. Rodeo tickets are extra though. So if you want to go into the grandstand and check out any of the rodeo events, you got to buy tickets separately. And if you want to ride the rides, well, that's the same thing too. You got to buy like a day pass wristband thing, or you got to buy tickets.
The grandstand is located at the south end of the park and is the venue for the rodeo at 1:30 each day. Tickets for the rodeo are available online at calgarystampede.com or at the ticket booth in front of the grandstand. The best seats are in the infield right behind the rodeo arena, but great seating is available in the midsection of the grandstand. At only $15, standing room tickets will be the best value, but you will be exposed to the ever-changing Calgary weather. The rodeo
it can go from plus 30 degrees Celsius, which is about 90-ish Fahrenheit, to all of a sudden these grayish purple clouds will roll in and it'll rain hail down on your head for about 5 minutes. Then it'll switch to rain for about another 10 minutes, and it'll stop, and then it'll get blistering hot again, and you're like, what in the Sam Steele was that?
rodeo consists of 6 main events and 3 novice or junior events over a period of 3 hours. The events are designed to showcase the skill of cowboys associated to traditional ranching work. For the most part, the animals are not harmed in these events and are cared for at a very high standard set in place by the Calgary Stampede. Rodeo, however, is a dangerous sport, and the skill of the rodeo clowns and safety precautions ensure the show is entertaining for all. The evening variety show and chuck wagon races start at 7:45 p.m. in the grandstand, followed by the nightly fireworks show, which can be viewed throughout the park.
Actually, you can see the fireworks display from almost anywhere within a 20-minute walk out of the downtown core or out of the away from the grounds, because they shoot them from the grounds, which are basically just east of downtown. So you can see them pretty much anywhere. I can see them from my bedroom window. It's kind of nice.
Exhibitions are located in the agricultural buildings, Indian Village, and BMO Center. In the agricultural building, you'll find daily performances of animals showcasing feats of strength and utility, with events throughout the day featuring ranching activities.
Hey,
Come on,
real
man.
quick,
Get
how do
commercial.
you
Get
find
the
the
hell out of
answer
here.
in all this data?
You get
I should get that YouTube premium fancy thing. Oh, look at that horse. Oh, look at them donkeys.
The barns feature an amazing selection of award-winning stock and specialty animals, and is a great way to get up and close with gorgeous 1,000+ pound cattle and horses. Just east of the agricultural
Beautiful
buildings
horse.
is Indian Village. Local First Nation tribes throughout Alberta will display native crafts and perform traditional dances. Stop by the open teepees.
Oh, did you see the Mounties? Let me back it up a bit there. There's the Mounties there with the red coats. Pestering the Indians as always. Leave the native indigenous people alone now. Let them do their thing.
Stop by the open teepees to visit with tribe members and marvel in the beautiful craftsmanship on display.
Yeah, go talk to the elders. Hello, Auntie. How much for that necklace? $5. Take off. That's a good deal. Eh? I'll take 3.
At the north end of the park is the BMO Center and the Corral. For dog lovers, the Corral has daily shows in the Dog Bowl featuring stunts and amazing agility of dogs throughout North America. The main exhibition hall has a variety of commercial and retail stalls selling as seen on TV items alongside local crafts and treats.
Get your candy apple here. Sure, why not? So you get it when you go to a fair, you got to get a candied apple.
Stick around for the culinary show or wander off to the art exhibit hall to view works from outstanding local and international artists. The Midway is where the action is. Amusement rides and games stretch from one end of the park to the other.
Look out now.
Daily ride passes can be purchased along with individual tickets if you just want to try a few.
Yeah, we do that too. We have candy apples for Halloween too. Caramel or the red candy apple.
There's also a kids section of the Midway with rides and games tailored for smaller children. Additionally, the BMO Kids Zone at the south end of the park provides complimentary activities. The Sky Ride will comfortably take you from one end of the park to the other. Or you can try the zip line that will jet you across the Midway in a matter of seconds.
Whoopee! Yeehaw!
Amusement games line the main roads of the Midway with games designed to test your skill, or more often than not, see how much money you are willing to pay for an inexpensive stuffed toy.
Yeah, stuffed toy you can pick up at the dollar store for $3, but it took you $53 to win it for your best gal. But it's worth it.
The Midway also offers plenty of dining choices.
You know why it's worth it?
All right, we're having a good time. And
That's why it's worth it. You're having a good time.
Challenge to the most dedicated dieter. A local favorite are the mini donuts at various places throughout the park. Wheaticville is a small replica western town located near the main entrance.
Okay, that's how I know for sure this thing is outdated because, spoiler alert, boots on the ground video coming up is going to be me exploring parts of the old portion of Stampede Park. And they were in the process of removing the replica old buildings in Wheaticville as I went down there to film it. So I got the last 2 remaining buildings that were still standing that they hadn't removed yet. So this is now it's gone. It's a bygone era, unfortunately. Wheaticville, named after the guy that founded the Stampede, Guy Wheatic, and they tear down Wheaticville. What a shame. Anyway, I'll just back it up just a skosh here for you. You can see Wheaticville. There we go.
Wheaticville is a small replica western town located near the main entrance, with picnic areas, live entertainment, inexpensive hot dogs, beverages, and fresh fruit. A great place to rest your feet in the shade of a tree.
Weedickville was excellent for that. Whether you had kids with you and a family, or whether you were just there with your best guy or gal, it was just a nice place to go. Grab a hot dog or grab some fresh fruit and some water, sit in the shade, take a load off your doggies, give your little doggies a rest for a bit, say howdy to some locals and some tourists or whatever, and they would have shows. They would have, actors in costume doing like, shoot 'em ups, shootouts, bank robberies. It was cool, but it's gone.
Right next to Weedickville is the Coca-Cola stage, with free live music and variety shows throughout the day and night. The Saddle Dome at the north end of the park hosts big-name concerts for an extra charge. During the day, stop by for free shows on the stairs out front. The event center at the Big 4 building is an adult-only nightclub with live music, food, and games.
Adults only. Yeah, it's still an annual thing. It's been an annual thing since 1923. So yeah, it's a big deal. But Weedickville is done. Weedickville, the little replica in the Stampede, is gone, unfortunately. This year will be the first year without Weedickville.
Check the daily event schedule, as some evenings will require an extra cover charge. Near the grandstand, an outdoor adult-only area serves up barbecue, music, and beer throughout the day. A mechanical bull is on site if you want to try your hand at 8 Seconds of Glory.
Oh, look out now, Missy.
Just
Don't
west
let your
of
bits
Saddle
fall
Dome
out.
is Nashville North. With live shows, Western dancing, food, and drink, Nashville North is the place to party into the evening. Stop by during the day for line dancing lessons. Be prepared for long queues later in the night, but definitely worth the wait if you're looking to get your Stampede on.
That's a good question, Vinny. As a cop goes by on the street behind me. Anyway, did they move it to Heritage Park? Not that I'm aware of. I mean, it was just a little replica anyways, right? It wasn't like Heritage Park where it's supposedly, actual real buildings that they've moved out of little towns, and, they're going to tear down that old log cabin. So, let's throw it on a trailer and take it up to Heritage Park in Calgary or whatever, right? As far as I know, they didn't, but that's a good question. I should look into that. But yeah, no, every year they still do this, Hippie. It's still one of the world's biggest rodeos. It starts the first Friday after Canada Day, which Canada Day is July 1st. So this year it was today officially with the parade, and then the rodeo opens up. And roughly 1 million people attend the Calgary exhibition and Stampede through the 10 days, so roughly 100,000 a day, they say.
Calgary is a modern city located at the foot of the Canadian Rockies. With a population of over 1.3 million, Calgary has a vibrant community and diverse economy, with many businesses supporting the oil and gas industry. While in the city, be sure to visit the pandas at the Calgary Zoo, the authentic Western historical village at Heritage Park,
There it is,
or the
Vinny.
Glenbow Museum in downtown Calgary. Just an hour west of the city, Banff and Lake Louise is a must for visitors to Calgary. With its unmatched beauty and friendly locals, Banff National Park is Canada's
Oh, look at that Tartarian castle in the background. I mean, Railway Hotel in Banff.
beauty and friendly locals.
There it is.
Banff National
Cowboys built that, don't you know?
Park is Canada's most prestigious natural wonder in the Canadian park system. Be sure to check out our video on Banff and Lake Louise to plan your visit. Calgary is served by a world-class international
Okay, we don't need to see the rest. Yeah, they got an airport in Calgary. They let them Cowboys have an airport. Yeah, great. Thanks. Sheesh. But yeah, Alberta's she's a mighty fine piece. That's for sure. That's why I call it Purdy Alberti. where were we at here? Just over an hour into the show already. Man, time flies when you're having fun, I guess.
All right, we're having a good time. And
so what do you say we take a mid-show break? Going to give you a sneak peek at your midweek video coming up here. This one is video footage of cattle drives from the 1930s, 1940s, and 1950s. It's just a hair shy of a 5-minute long video. Smoke them if you got them, by the way, and put on some headphones because this song's a banger. And we'll see you just on the other side of 5. All right? Cheers, everybody.
Yeehaw!
All right, and we are back. Howdy, y'all. Howdy, partner. Frankie here, New West Reset. Thank you very much for shooting in, joining a feller here for another one, and another live stream, y'all. New West Reset Live, episode 73 here today, this evening, this afternoon, this morning. About 10 past 8 p.m. local time. That's mountain time out here in the prairies, you see, in southern Alberta, Purdy, Alberta. We're looking at the birth of the Canadian cowboy here on the channel this evening, kicking off the Calgary Stampede. So thank you very much for joining me here. Really appreciate seeing all of you. Thanks for kicking off your weekend with Frankie Fingers.
So now you know what I'm talking about with the whole New West Reset thing.
No.
What?
No.
What I said about Frankie Fingers.
Oh.
That Frankie
Oh,
Fingers
yeah.
and New West Reset are the same.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, she don't stand no cheating. She don't stand none of that.
So once again, thank you for shooting in and joining me here. Old World, Michigan is in the corral this evening. Hippie Shake is here as well. Got Cousin Vinny here. Really appreciate all of you taking time out of your weekend and joining me here. Dragon Sage is here as well. What'd you think of that little video there with the cattle rustling? Kathy Childers in the corral as well. Good to see all of you. So it's a beautiful day here today. It's still like well above 20 degrees Celsius. It's like low 70s as the sun is getting low in the sky. But I can hear the partying going on out there in the city for the Stampede. It's like Mardi Gras for cowboys around here. So thanks for kicking off your weekend here with me. Happy Friday to you. Once again, as a reminder, if you haven't already, give a feller one of these if you don't mind. Thank you once again for subscribing and sharing, and thanks for joining me here. Thanks to everybody in the box, in the corral, for joining me here. So at the top of the show, we just looked at sort of the origins, the official narrative, according to Wikipedia, of how the Calgary Stampede started, and by this guy named Guy Wiedeck, who was an American, and somehow decided to come all the way over here to start this thing. But I'm glad he did, and I know the city of Calgary's glad he did. Well, although some of the locals, they get out of Dodge right quick, bud, when the Stampede's coming to town. They're like, yeah, I can't take it. I gotta go. That's when they take their vacation and they go to Hawaii or something. But I like it. I'm not a big on the whole country music thing, with a couple of exceptions. You know, I like Johnny Cash. I like Patsy Cline. I like Hank Williams, Sr. A little bit of Willie Nelson. That's about it. PCS World. Howdy, howdy. Welcome. And then we saw a couple of promotional videos, kind of, promoting the Stampede, helping to push that whole cowboy narrative, the whole propaganda thing. So I've got some pictures, some photographs, but I think I have another old video here. Let me just check real quick. Do I? Yes, I do. I think. Yeah, this one's only about a minute long, just over a minute long. It's another promotional video. This one's from the, I believe, late 40s, early 50s. You can kind of tell by the way the guy talks when he's narrating the video. Say, but yeah, this is just over a minute long. See what we got here.
Now for a Western with real cowboys and Indians. And a rodeo for real Western entertainment. It's all part of that.
Wait, did he just call it a rodeo for realsies? Sheesh. It's rodeo, buddy. Come on.
Famous Alberta show, the Calgary Stampede. Backing Broncos usually have the last word in the argument.
Oh, look at that,
All very well saying, ride 'em, cowboy, but some four-legged critters are curiously uncooperative. Each man reaches his own climax sooner or later, but the real climax of the stampede is the chuck wagon race.
Oh, here we go.
Roman chariot racing, it's got nothing on this lot. These are the boys who put the stamp in Stampede. Drive 'em, cowboy! Yippee!
Quick little peekaboo at some promotional footage, you know, the old Stampede. George Jones. I just there's a very small handful of country singers I like, to be honest with you. Not much of a country guy. I'm more of a blues fella and a classic rock fella. But I'll tell you one cat that could really sing, country singer that had a beautiful voice, was that Conway Twitty feller. Wow. Wow-wee, that guy could sing. Sweet baby Jeebus, that guy could sing. Anyway, let's have a look at some photographs here. What do you think? Sound like an idea? We've got about I don't even know how many I have in here. Yeah, a couple of dozen photographs. Not quite. Let's get this queued up here for you. Boom. There we go. So as mentioned, most or a lot of these are going to be from 1912, and then a bunch from 1919, and then the rest from the 30s and the 50s. This one from the 1930s, but it gives you an idea of the grandstand. Huge grandstand. You can tell it's 30s because, yeah, you're seeing some cowboy hats, but then you're seeing some, fedoras too. Hey, get away, copper, see? Yeah. Not really sure what's going on back here, but okay. Cowboys built that old world building, I guess. All right, now we're getting into some stuff here. 1930. Calgary Stampede, Lee McGrath, leaving which way? Yeah, they always give these horses crazy names. Apparently this horse's name is Which Way, and he's leaving. In other words, yeah, he's gotten thrown. 1930, Paddy Ryan of Montana, high-stepping with Barnacle Bill. Bucking Broncos' name's Barnacle Bill. It's called high-stepping. Look at that, man. That horse wants this guy off, like, not now, but right now. Also from 1930, wild horse racing. I'm not sure if they're supposed to catch they don't do this event anymore, so I'm not sure if they're supposed to catch the horse or they let it go and they have horses race each other. I don't know. Not really sure. All right, 1919. This is Hightail. What in the blazes is going on back here? Oh, don't worry about that. Just worry about the Cowboys. But what's that? Don't worry about it. Now look at the nice horsey. Yeah, but what is this? It's fine. Cowboys built it. What's going on back here? Cowboys built that too, I guess. Not sure if this part of the parade? I don't think so. I think this is just warm up for the rodeo or something. Although I do see some instruments there. Maybe it is part of the parade. Maybe it's the staging area or the muster area before they get the parade going. Here's Lucille Mohall, champion lady bucking horse rider, 1912. Very focused and concentrated. She's the lady champion of the world. Nice. Ladies still compete in a stampede, by the way. They still do barrel racing and some trick riding and a bunch of other stuff. This is Mrs. Bertha Blanchette, champion lady bucking horse rider of the world. This is from 1919, this one. This other one was from 1912. Dolly Mullins, female trick rider. You want to talk about dangerous. Oh, look, there's the cops. Keeping an eye on stuff. The cops. The man. There's another one. There's more cops. Some of them wear helmets now. The bull riders, some of them do. The saddle bronc. We have two bucking bronco events. We have the saddle bronc, where the bucking bronco's got a saddle on it. And then we have the bareback, where it sounds dirty and filthy like an R-rated movie. But nope. Or something you'd rent in a hotel when you're out of town on business. But no. It's no saddle. You just get the bridle and the reins to hang on to. But a lot of them do wear helmets. Not all, though. Still, a lot of them still wear the old cowboy hat. This guy is going for a ride. This photo from 1930. Like he's bracing himself, but he's fixing to hit that ground hard. But he ain't lost his hat, though. These are in no particular order in terms of the year, by the way. Preparing to Ride a Wild Horse at the Calgary Stampede by Marcel of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, 1912. Look at those chaps. Like they're sheep's wool chaps, actually. Real cowboys don't wear leather chaps that much. They wear these sheep's wool chaps. No jeans. He's wearing pinstripe pants. You got to look good for the wild horse race. I guess that's what you got to do is you got to rope a wild horse, get on it, and then ride it. Larry Redmond riding Doubleday. That's right. And you can only hang on with one hand. This is saddle bronc. You can see it's saddled up here. And all of these events supposedly derive from actual, chores, activities, things you got to do on the horse and cattle ranches and the farms. Right? You get a bunch of new horses. You got to break them horses so you can ride them. You gotta lasso and wrestle some steer to get them down so you can brand them or ear tag them or, all of that stuff, right? So apparently all of these events are born out of those sorts of real life ranch activities. So these cowboys are real cowboys. Yeah, they compete in the rodeos, but they also live and work on real farms and ranches. Yeah, these guys break ribs and arms and legs and wrists and ankles and stuff like that. You fell off a motorcycle like that once? Wow. Owie. Steer open at the 1912 Calgary Stampede. So they let the steer out of the gate, and they let you mounted on your horse out of a gate right beside it at the same time. And the steer runs out, and you got to run down the steer on your horse, lasso it, stop the steer, get off your horse, wrestle the steer down to the ground, and hog tie it in the fastest time. And these guys are able to do that in 10 seconds, 12 seconds. It's amazing. There's Prairie Rose Henderson, female trick rider. Or was she a trick shooter? She might have been one of them fancy 6-shooter trick shooters. I can't remember. She just looks like she's having a blast. Look at her horse. Beautiful. Here's Prairie Rose with some of her fellow female competitors. Her name was Rose Henderson, but the nickname Prairie Rose for a couple of reasons, because, well, she's from the prairies here, and Alberta's official flower is the Alberta wild prairie rose. So there you go. Oh, look at this one from 1910. This fella means business. It's part of the old Wild West shows and trick shooting things that they used to do. They don't have the trick shooting in that anymore. They still have the trick roping and the trick horse stuff, you know, where people do acrobatics on the horses and whatnot. They do flips on while they're riding their horse and, you know, all them things, right? But they don't do the shoot 'em ups anymore. All right, now so we get into some of our Indigenous First Nations peoples that attend the Calgary Stampede every year for the past 100 years. They set up a Indian village there in Stampede Park, and they stay for the entire time in the Indian village. Take it easy. They said that we could call it that, kid. I believe all of these photos, they are the Blackfoot Confederacy, Blackfoot Nation, Indigenous First Nations. So they would basically do whatever activities they would normally do in their village, but they would do it in Stampede Park. And they would, you know, sell them as souvenirs, right? Basket weaving and just whatever. Sell food and arts and crafts. And they still to this day. It's a fine tradition. We've got a couple of Blackfoot chiefs here, 3 Blackfoot chiefs. Look at these glorious guys. Look at this. Look at all this beadwork. It's all beads sewn in to this buckskin. Amazing. Beads, beads. Oh yes, the Blackfoot are an integral part of Alberta's history. Well, prairie history, really. And down in Montana and Idaho as well, actually. A little bit more of some of the Indian village. Some pale faces paying a visit. Look at this. Look at his cuffs. It's all beadwork. Really nice. Even his shoes, too. Look at that. Stitching. Like needlework stitching? Is that what that's called? Stitch work? Needlework? Just chilling. Hey, want to share a little bit of what's in that pipe there, Uncle? Calgary Stampede Parade, 1912. 1912. The population of Calgary in the year 1900 was 4,000 people. The population in 1906 was 12,000 people. So you got to say that the city of Calgary had, what, let's say 25, 30,000 people maybe. And just look at all of this back here. All built out. Now this is on, I believe, Stephen Avenue. So a lot of these buildings still exist. A lot of these we probably looked at in the subscriber meetup and mudflood tour of last summer when we did Stephen Avenue or 8th Avenue downtown. Oh, Vinny says, sorry, gang, got class early. Gonna watch replay later. Yeehaw! All right, cousin Vinny. We'll see you later. Have a good one. Thanks for shooting in there, partner. A couple more to go here anyway. 1930. This is parade as well. Calgary Stampede, 1930. This guy's up on a ladder. Must be taking pictures from that vantage point or something, because that's crazy. Again, 1930. A lot of bay blankets converted into clothing. Hudson's Bay Trading Company. Kind of famous for those blankets. All right, here you go. Now we're into the 1950s here now. So there's your Stampede breakfast. They literally, you just walk up and they're cooking flapjacks or pancakes and bacon or pancakes and sausage. This guy's got a Coca-Cola here. Come on now, it's breakfast time. What are you doing with a Coca-Cola? But they literally cook pancakes on the griddle. And there you go. Just come up with your paper plate and grab yourself some grub. Maybe have some live entertainment. What's all this in the background, by the way? Here. Pretty fancy. Well, Cowboys built it. I mean, there's a cowboy right on there. So, sure. But this today this is how people dress today. Hell, this is how I dressed to go to work today. And about, I don't know, 80% of my coworkers dress like this. 80% of the city dresses like this for the Stampede. These kids are just having a blast. This kid's into it, man. These kids are into it. This kid's having the time of his life. Can't wait to get his flappies. Oh, hello, miss. How are you? Oh, hello. Ladies. Howdy. Howdy, ladies. There's a nice view, also from the 1950s. And I mean, this is a small crowd. Some of these pancake breakfasts get to be huge. Like the one at Chinook Center shopping mall, which is probably the closest of the really large shopping malls to the Stampede Park instead of the rodeo grounds. I mean, they get thousands and thousands of people for their free Stampede pancake breakfast. But yeah, they're just cooking them out of the back of the chuck wagons, the same chuck wagons that'll be racing later on. Look at all these people dressed in their best Western garb. There's some more sirens in the background. Shout out to Terry Light. She's probably gardening right now. Getting her tomatoes and her beans and her peppers and stuff going. Of course, big sponsor of the Stampede is Coca-Cola, even still to this day. The Coca-Cola stage where you get free concerts and stuff. Oh, look! It's QE2 and her hubby. Covered with blankets and thoroughly enjoying themselves. Queen Elizabeth and her prince consort. Look at that. Just having a great old time there in the special box seating. Watching the rodeo. Good old Liz and Philly Phil having a time of their lives there. Hey, how'd this get in there? Picture of downtown Calgary. It looks pretty ramshackled, and there's just a dang cow standing in the middle of the road. What the hell is this down here? Some kind of Arc de Triomphe City Gates thing? I don't know. That ain't there no more. That ain't there no more. But this one is, and this one is, and a lot of these are. Not really sure why the dirt is, sorry, it's so pickleated, but not really sure why the dirt is so, or the road is so dirty and crummy. It's almost like these fellas here just kind of walked into town and just kind of claimed all these buildings. I mean, you got cows just wandering around downtown. Yeah. Yeah, Liz and Philly Phil, Prince Philip, Prince Consort. You rarely see them smiling. They must have been having a ball. Anyway, there you go. That's it for the photos in that file. Calgary Stampede. Thank you. Yeah, there's some great shots. I mean, really, you just go onto Google Images and just type in Calgary Stampede and filter it for black and white, and some magnificent pictures come up. 1912, 1919, 1930, the 40s. And then there's video footage too. There's video footage from the 20s, 30s, 40s. So as if you couldn't tell, it's kind of a big deal, the Calgary Stampede around these here parts. And you know what? Every little city and town in the surrounding area here in southern Alberta all have their own little rodeos. Heck, even the little town that my parents live at, just a little bit north of me, they have their own rodeo grounds, and they have their own separate little rodeo. There's towns that only have like 3,000 or 4,000 people, and they have their own rodeo every year. They do their little small town parade, and they have their rodeo. They might have a little midway set up with a couple of little rides and that too, But then, they have folks, selling food and crafts, arts and crafts. Yeah, a lot of people are shocked that, wait a second, there's Cowboys up in Canada? Yeah, the Cowboys come to compete in the Stampede from British Columbia, here in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, even out in Ontario and Quebec, and even out in some of the Atlantic provinces. And technically anywhere where there's a ranch or a farm, right? If, you're around horses, riding horses, working with horses or cattle your whole life, and you're really good at riding horses, or, you get into maybe doing some tricks or horse jumping or whatever, stands to reason you might eventually find yourself to be a professional rodeo cowboy, right? But yeah, a lot of people, they just don't realize it. And we have cowboys coming up for the Stampede from Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, New Mexico, Nevada, North Dakota, South Dakota, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, lots from Oklahoma, lots from Texas, actually. A few from California, Washington, Oregon, from Mexico, from New Mexico, from South America, even from down under. Crikey. Aussies and Kiwis are coming up here and competing. Professional cowboys from down under. But it's funny, the Wild West rubber stamped narrative that southern Alberta and most especially Calgary has been awarded here is it's very similar to a lot of the same backstories that you hear about the Wild West and the Wild Frontier down in the States, Wyoming or Oklahoma or whatever, cattle drives and rodeos and cowboys and Indians and all of that stuff, wheat farms and cattle ranches and horse ranches. Just when a lot of people think Canada, they think, cold and a lot of snow. And yeah, I'm going to be honest. The majority of our year is winter, especially the further north you go. It starts getting cold and we could start getting snow. Well, at least here in Calgary where I live, sometimes as early as October, we can get snow. And that snow can last, right through February, March, April. It starts to melt, March, April, maybe. But then we get these freak snowstorms in April and May even. I think I heard one old timer say that was born and raised here in Calgary. think he's in his 80s. I think he said that quite a few times in his life it snowed every month of the year here in Calgary. It just, for whatever reason, a thunderstorm, it was raining, and then the temperature really drops for whatever reason, some goofy thing, and then it snows. It doesn't accumulate, but snow is falling out of the sky. The precipitation is in the form of flurries, so I could see why people would be like, wait, they don't have dusty old cowboys riding a dusty trail up there and lassoing them some wild horses and branding cattle and chewing tobacco and drinking whiskey and gun shooting and fighting with Indians. Yeah, man, all of that. Hell, I didn't even know that when I was a kid growing up in Montreal, Quebec. I had no idea that out here in the West, it was all cowboys until my daddy told me when we were moving out here. And then I thought it would be like a Clint Eastwood movie set, the wooden sidewalks, Wild West town, and no, modern city. So 10-year-old me was kind of bummed out at first, but Southern Alberta is beautiful. Calgary's a pretty beautiful city. If you've been around the channel for a while, you've probably seen a lot of examples of that from my boots on the ground videos where I explore Calgary. It is a beautiful city. The mountains are gorgeous. And we're so close to the mountains. I mean, we're the gateway to the New West here, the heart of the New West. That's part of the reason why I named my channel New West Reset. So I think with that, we're going to have a look at one more video. I was actually going to upload this separately, but let me just look at this here for a second because I don't think it's that long of a video. Let's see. That's about 20 minutes. What do you think? Should we watch this? It's from 1962, and it's a Alberta, or it's a Calgary Board of Tourism video, again, to attract, business ventures and tourists into the city. From 1962. What do you think? Want to have a little looky-loo at that? Oh, Hippie says, I just had a look on the map where Calgary is. Oh, yeah, I should. Why don't I do that here? Why don't I just go into the goggle machine here and click on the old goggle maps? Anybody that's new to the channel, first of all, howdy, partner. Howdy, welcome. But yeah, let's have a look at this here. See what's what and where we are. Boom. By the way, some people try to make me eat shit sandwiches because I put it on the globe of the Google Earth, but that's because then it allows me to do the 2D and zoom in and do all kinds of stuff that you can't do on the flat map of the Google Maps. But yeah, here's pretty Alberta here. Here's Alberta up in Canadian land. And there's Calgary right here. There's the Rocky Mountains, about 45-minute drive due west as the crow flies. There she is. But yeah, all these little surrounding towns, Water Valley, Crossfield, Carstairs, Bicycle, Rosebud, they all have Vulcan, they all will have their own, Nanton, they have their own little rodeos. It's a big thing because all in through here are cattle ranches, a lot of horses as well, and then a lot of oil wells and stuff. Farming too, like agricultural grains, cereal grains and whatnot. So it's a lot like Texas, Southern Alberta, a lot like Texas, oil and cattle and that sort of thing. But instead of having, the Gulf of Mexico, we got the Rocky Mountains. So it's Texas combined with Colorado. So yeah, that's where we are. There's Calgary right there, and there's Edmonton, the capital city. You can see Alberta's huge, roughly in millions of square miles, roughly the size of Texas, actually. Very similar in size to Texas as well. So yeah, that's where we're at. Oh yeah, I can see the mountains. They're due west of me. So I can see them when I go out on my balcony, I can see the mountains. Calgary's in a little bit of a dip. So if you actually get up somewhere high in the city, or like Calgary has a like a needle, like the space needle, like in Seattle. You know what I'm saying? Here, I'll just pull up an image. Well, instead of yakking about it. Let's just look at it for Pete's sake. So yeah, we have one of these towers here, you see. So you get up into that thing, which has a revolving restaurant and all kinds of stuff like that there, and you can really see the mountains. But yeah, if I just type in Calgary and then Rocky Mountains, almost forgot how to spell there for a second. But yeah, there. See, here you go. There's Calgary, and there's the mountains. Kind of like Denver, a little bit. You know, I think the mountains may be a little closer in Denver, maybe. Hard to say. But yeah, you can, I mean, the mountains are beautiful. And yeah, you can see them from pretty much anywhere in the city, especially higher ground. You just look due west. Just look due west, and there they are. Now, in the summer, there's no snow on them, except for the very tippy tops of some of the highest ones might have a little bit of snow. But for the most part, by the time summer hits, there they are. By the time summer hits, you don't see a lot of snow on them. So there's the Bow River. There's St. George's Island, where the Calgary Zoo is there. And there's the downtown core. Chinatown is kind of right here. This is Fort Calgary. The Stampede grounds are just over here. Stampede Park, and there's the Rocky Mountains there. My house is just on the other side of downtown, just over here in the west end. So I can really see the mountain. And none of this monstrosities are blocking my view. Yeah, I'm pretty lucky, you know. Canada is a beautiful country, and Alberta is a beautiful province, and Calgary is a pretty nice city, you know, as far as modern cities go, I guess. So what do you think? Do you want to have a look at that video real quick? There's 11 people watching right now, so let me know in the box, in the chat, in the corral, if you want to watch a little bit of that 20-minute video, or if you want a fella to save it, put a pin in it, and maybe just upload it as a separate vintage footage video or something. Just let me know in the chat. It runs down, you know, all kinds of stuff about Calgary, and it does focus in a little bit on the Stampede as well. And it talks about the mountains a little bit too. It's stuff to do around Calgary. And because it's from the 1960s, first of all, it's corny as hell. But secondly, actually, you know, you see a lot of buildings in the background, as always. Old World, Michigan saying, save it. All right. Yeah, we can do that. Definitely. Definitely save it for a, vintage footage midweek on a Wednesday. Instead of putting music to it, I'll just leave the original Turtle saying play it. But how about this? How about I just give you a little bit of a preview, just a little taste of it, and then I'll upload the whole thing later on. How's that? All right, let's do that. Let's do that. This is called Calgary, Heart of the New West. Huh.
My name's Bill Hughes, profession architect. I was born some 30-plus years ago in
Oh, architect, you say? All right.
Western Canada, a city called Calgary. I left home, 15 years ago now. I've since acquired a wife, Nancy, a son and heir, David, a dog, and a mortgage in that order. Well, my folks have visited us, of course, but I'd really like to see the old hometown again. I'm not exactly homesick, understand, but when I expressed a desire to spend our annual vacation there, the initial reaction was only mildly enthusiastic.
Calgary? Calgary.
Calgary.
Not New York?
Not the lake.
Calgary.
Oh, come on now. Throwing shade at my fair city. Thank you, hippie. Appreciate that. Thank you. Throwing shade. Listen, Bucky, you get them buck tooth back in that mouth and keep it shut now. Talking smack about my fair city here now.
Okay, Calgary.
All right,
you'll
that's better.
love it. Now, let's see, we could leave on a Thursday. Most people arriving by car approach from the south. 15 years has made a lot of differences. Quite an improvement in the road, for one thing. Whoops. It
See that building? That is not there anymore.
doesn't take very long before you start to get the feeling of the West. An hour
See those grain elevators and that totem pole? They're not there anymore either.
and a half from town, we stopped off for buffalo burgers and coffee at the Drift Willow Ranch, a folksy restaurant that far offsets some rather unusual plumbing with its Western decor.
Barbecue beef on a bun.
They make it very easy to find your way into Calgary with a variety of information for motorists. The tourist accommodations fronting the highway were certainly all new to me, and just as good as anywhere. But this was Calgary. Our choice just had to be something much more rustic, to please a certain party who was secretly hoping to find a bad guy behind every door. Our arrival was announced post-haste, and the last 15 years just disappeared with that first glimpse of the old homestead. My folks are always hospitable, loving and sentimental. Only, they say it with roast beef, Alberta corn, and all the trimmings. Better roast beef than the best we can buy at home, I'd only...
Alberta famous for its delicious Alberta beef.
Told Nancy about 1 million times so far this trip.
World-class beef. Mind you, I like roast beef, but I would prefer to have me a steak there on my plate. But anyway. The kid looked like a beaver. I hope they ain't eating beaver. That's
Oh, drive 500 miles before supper, eat and talk like there's no tomorrow, and 9 o'clock seemed high time to investigate our motel's claims to comfort. Since I was so many years out of touch, our first morning stop was down to the Tourist Information Center, housed in a typical prairie railway station, vintage 1900. The massive 5900 locomotive, largest in the British Empire, is a survivor of Canada's steam engine era of travel.
Unfortunately, that visitor information center is no longer there either, but the locomotive is at Heritage Park. This is from 1962, hippie. 1962.
Dubbed Hospitality Center, the name stands for free, factual, and friendly information. We'd only glanced briefly towards downtown in the excitement of arriving, and I just wasn't aware of the new-look skyline. Nan was just as surprised, since I'd told her that 100 years ago the only tourists around here were a few explorers opening up the West, and modern architecture meant teepees and log forts. I don't think she'd expected much change, frankly, but she was as pleased with our discoveries as the other tourists flocking in from all over.
Damn, I screwed up. I'm sorry. I was just going to call your attention to that one building that was in the background there. It was the Hudson's Bay department store building. It was on Stephen Avenue, and we had a look at that last year for the Meetup and Walkabout Mudflood tour.
Anne was just as surprised, since I'd told her that 100 years ago the only tourists around here were a few explorers opening up the West, and modern architecture meant teepees and log forts. I don't think she'd expected much change, frankly, but she was as pleased with our discoveries as the other tourists flocking in from all over.
All right. So after this bus goes by in the film here, you'll see there, when it cuts to that. So that is the Hudson's Bay department store building. And boy, howdy, is it pretty. Arches and marble and terracotta glazed tile and brick and sandstone. It's amazing. We looked at it last summer, and I'm going to go back and look at it again this year with the new camera that's got the zoomage. Oh, the zoomage on it. Mr. Beast fan is in the box. Mr. Beast fan, howdy. Making their way into the corral. Good to see you.
Calgary didn't even exist until 1875, then only as a small Royal Northwest Mounted Police post. The name, I recall, is Gaelic for clear running water, and the city is now the largest in area in Canada. It's amazing to see a place in this day and age retaining so many of the warm, Old West ways and traditions, in spite of the hustle and bustle of a growing metropolis, with its advantages and disadvantages. By lunchtime, we had had enough walking, so a tour of some of the residential areas was indicated. Our first stop was up in the older Mount Royal setting with its gracious homes and gardens, colorful French street names, and green-thumbed gardeners.
A lot of you, well, some of you anyway, might recognize a lot of these buildings because we've done walkabouts up in here in Mount Royal, haven't we? Hey, look, there's that house that looks like a castle. It's a Calgary cowboy castle.
I couldn't even place some of the newer districts, though. They say the city has expanded further than they dreamed possible. Well, then I had it. We used to hike out this way, camp overnight, and brag about what we'd do if a coyote came prowling around in the dark.
Yep, that's progress. And I think we'll leave it at that. Give you a little sneak peek. There you go. Yeah, neither was I. Bill says I wasn't even a twinkle in my dad's imagination yet in 1962. Yeah, I was not a twinkle in my daddy's eye at that point yet either. Hippie was. Hippie was born in 1962. There you go. Nice. Nice. No, I was born 1970. 1970 or I-970, lowercase j 970. I'm a 63 model. Yeah, there you go. Oh, nice. So where are we at? Well, we are 2 hours on the nose. Look at that. So I think I'm going to get ready to wind this thing down here for this evening. And again, thank you very much for joining me here for a little bit of a later start time. I had to work until 6 today, so I hightailed it home to the homestead here as quick as I could and rustled me up some grub. And now I'm just talking to y'all on the talk box. I don't know. I'm trying to sound like a cowboy, but I really sound like an idiot. You know what? I like consistency. That's why I like to do a boots on the ground video and have it ready for you every Sunday. The vintage footage videos every Wednesday. And then a live stream every Friday. But my schedule at work seems to be more and more inconsistent lately. I used to pretty much be able to go live at 5 local time here on a Friday. But every once in a while, I got to start it late at 7 p.m., which is fine for me and fine for, some folks. But I mean, some of you are, it's like 1 or 2 in the morning where you are, or something like that, or just really late at night, like, 11 at night or midnight. So I was kicking around the idea of switching permanently the live stream and the boots on the ground video. So instead of having your boots on Sunday and live on Friday, doing live on Sunday and the boots on Friday, which kind of makes sense in a couple of ways. I don't work Sundays. So A, that's convenient. B, I have a little bit of a wider range of when I can go live. So not only do I not have to go live later, but I can actually go live earlier some days. I can go live at, I don't know, like a noon my time or something at some point, right? And 3, the live shows tend to be a little bit longer, right? At least a couple hours. So by going live on Sunday, anybody who can't make the live Sunday and wants to watch the re-up, they have Monday, Tuesday to do that, or even Sunday after the show. So, 2.5, maybe almost 3 days to watch the live stream. And then Wednesday, vintage footage. Thursday, you get a day's buffer there. And then Friday, boots on the ground. And then there's a day's buffer with Saturday and then Sunday live. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've been kicking around the idea. So how about you help me out in the box right now and let me know. Type a number 1 in the chat if you're okay with me switching to Sundays for the live show, and type a 0 if that ain't working for me, Frankie. Keep it Friday. And come on, now help a fella out here now. Don't be all wishy-washy and say, whatever you like's fine, or it's your channel, do what you want. I'm looking for some feedback here. So if Sunday's okay, type a number 1. If Sunday is no, is definitely a negatory, type a 0. I'm getting a lot of 1s here. Title's giving a 1. PCS World a 1. Mr. Beast Fan a 1. All right. So let's say starting in August, maybe, I'll switch it up. We'll do a live. We'll do the live show as a weekend wind down as opposed to a weekend wind up. You know what I mean? And that way you'll still get the vintage footage midweek on Wednesday, and then the boots on the ground will be Friday. I mean, to me, it's fine, but I don't like bouncing around time slots. And I'm so grateful to have friends from all over the realm, people that are, somebody like Hippie who's over in Wales, right? Or Marit who's in the Netherlands. Or, I mean, there's a lot of folks that are in Europe that watch my show. And so, if I go on at 7 p.m. my time, that's not so bad because it's mountain time. So, in the West at Pacific time, that's only 6 p.m. Out Eastern time, it's like 9. Atlantic, it's 10. It's getting there, though, right? Getting kind of late for some folks. So this way I could go live Sunday at 5 p.m. my time, or I could even go earlier. I could go at noon or 1 o'clock or whenever, right? So, yeah, see, like it's 4 a.m. there right now, Hippie. My goodness gracious. God bless you, Hippie. God bless you. Wow. Thank you, Hippie. Anyway, with that and with Hippie's kindness and all of your kindness there, I think that that's going to do it. I think that's going to seal the deal here tonight for Frankie. New West Reset live. Wow, that motorcycle, did you hear that? It was whipping by there on the road. Anyway, New West Reset live, episode 73, the birth of the Canadian cowboy. Quiet up there, you dang Kawasaki. Trying to do a show here now. Get on that, get. Anyway, sorry about that. So yeah, we were looking at, we just kind of took a trip into Alberta's cowboy history. Cowboys in Canada. Who would have thunk, eh? So upcoming for the channel as we move into the summertime, Cousin Vinny and I are going to head back to Heritage Park. If you're a local and you want to join us at Heritage Park, by the way, send me an email. Let me know. Send me your contact information and let you know when we're going to be heading over there. Because it's up to he and I. We got to try to hammer out a time between the two of us too, right? When we both have time off and we can get up there. But definitely going to head back to Heritage Park and hit some of the stuff that we missed, unfortunately, last time. The Railroad Museum. Ho, ho, ho. The old car museum. Ho, ho. And they got a cool old blacksmith there, too, with some old-timey equipment there, too. So we're going to check that out. Of course, as a reminder, I'm going to be heading up to Edmonton here in a couple of weeks. So if you're in the Edmonton area and you want to meet up while I'm up there, let me know, and I'll let you know when and where and what's going on. And boy, howdy, when I'm up there. A couple of road trips planned as well. Cousin Vinny and I are going to try to take a road trip sometime in the summer. Still hammering out the Freemason mudflood tour of old world buildings in Calgary with a coworker of mine, friend of mine, who's quite high up in the Freemasons here in Alberta. So I thought that would be very interesting perspective. So still hammering that out too. That's going to be sometime this summer for sure, because we were talking about it the other day at work. So, and lots of other stuff. So keep your ocular sphericals locked in here on the channel, and subscribe and hit all the other stuff down there to make sure, and all that stuff. You know. And with that, links below for everything, as well as my BitChute, Rumble, MeWe, email, PayPal, and my location map. So as I mentioned earlier, as I said already, I'm going to repeat myself one last time. That is going to seal the deal here for Frankie, New West Reset and New West Reset Live. So thank you very much for kicking off your weekend with yours truly. Sorry it was a little bit later, but it looks like we can remedy that with Friday, Sunday flip. So thank you. Take care out there, and until the next one, have yourselves a good one. All right?
Y'all come back now, you hear?
It's a mystery. It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma.